Hey, peace everybody. What's happening? Welcome back to another practice. My name is Ben, and today we're doing a practice that's really strengthening for the whole body. We're going to be working into crow pose, bakasana, posture that's especially strong on the shoulders, the core, and the hip flexors. But we'll really strengthen the whole body to prepare for and practice crow pose throughout our flow. And maybe we'll even get to side crow as well by adding on a little bit of twisting and lengthening into the spine. So with that all said, let's go ahead and start into a down dog and use this down dog to create some strength and space, knowing where we're going. So we know that we're headed toward the crow pose eventually. We can already start to feel that push, that protraction of the shoulder blades, meaning the little separation of the shoulder blades from each other across the width of the upper back. We can feel this length in the side bodies as the hips press back, and we can feel this strength in the legs. So maybe bend the knees a little bit and feel the heels driving towards the ground with the bend in the knees even. Take an inhale. Take an exhale. Shift into plank pose. From plank pose, take a push-up. Drop into chaturanga, stay for a second, and then come up to plank pose. Scoop it up back to down dog. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then go ahead and tiptoe the feet up to the top of the mat into your forward fold. Relax the head down and bend into the knees. Maybe grab opposite elbows over top of your head. Release the arms, halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold as we exhale. Inhale, both arms up to the sky. Exhale, draw your hands down to your heart. Take a chair pose. Inhale, try to get nice and deep. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step the left foot back and then rise up into a high crescent lunge. So keep your knee lifted off the ground behind you and strengthen through both legs. Breathe for a moment. And then bring your hands down to the ground. Drop your left knee down and then reach your hands back up to the sky, this time in a low lunge. Continue to feel the strength in your legs. Keep pressing your right foot and your left foot down into the mat. Let's inhale here. Exhale, hands to the ground, pyramid pose. Fold over your right leg and find a nice deep stretch. Then drop your right knee down to the ground and shift to lizard lunge. So bring your right foot nice and wide. And as you get into the lizard lunge, I think it's nice to just kind of shift around a little bit. Let your right knee open to the side if that feels natural. Then feel your chest lifting. And then after a second, fold into the posture. You could even try to bring 1 or 2 forearms down to the mat. And stay in this sort of position. Just bring the left knee up off the mat. So tuck the toes behind you and lift the knee. And we're in this sort of tall lizard lunge now. And then step forward into malasana squat. Left foot outside the right foot. Sink into the hips, but keep pressing down into the feet so that you're not sinking down into the malasana squat. You're kind of lifting up from the malasana squat, if that makes sense. Take an inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Forward fold. Press the hips up and back, but keep the weight mostly in your toes rather than the heels. All right, then let's bring the feet back towards one another, hip width distance about. Take a halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, rise to stand, arms to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands down to your hearts. From here, let's find chair pose. Bend into the knees, lift the arms, and then let's try something. Float onto the tiptoes, and then sink down into a little toe stand. And pause here, reach the arms up, and try to sit up tall. So as we balance on the toes, feel the knees sort of energetically reaching forward in space as the fingertips reach up in space. And we kind of reach our hands to the space behind us. So finding a subtle back bend through opening the shoulders. Take an inhale. Maybe wobble out of it if you're like me. And then exhale, hands to the mat, forward folds. Shake out the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back to plank pose. From plank pose, take chaturanga, lower halfway. Inhale to your upward facing dog. And then exhale, roll it back to your downward facing dog. As you get to down dog, inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward. Exhale, take a little hop to the top of your mat, take a forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold, and step the right foot all the way back. Strong in the legs, rise up to standing, a high crescent lunge. Arms up. Feel yourself gripping the mat with your feet and continue to feel yourself gently pushing through the floor with your left foot and the left toes. Take a nice full breath in. Nice full breath out. Hands down to the ground. And drop the right knee down and then come into a lunge with your knee down. Into a low crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. Inhale there. Exhale, now head to pyramid pose. Tuck the toes under and find a nice deep fold. After a couple breaths, drop the knee down and head into a lizard lunge. So left foot comes a little wider. And feel free to mosey around. Lift up through the chest. Just feel a nice deep stretch into your hip, but let your whole body be a part of the experience. And then maybe try to drop one or two forearms down to the mat. Move into slightly deeper space. For me, it's like just on that edge of availability, dropping the forearms down. So I like to just drop one at a time sometimes. Usually the right forearm would drop if my left foot is forward. And then go ahead and come into the same position, but with your knee lifted off the ground. It requires you to be a little bit more active in the legs. And then step forward into malasana squat. Hips sink down. But once the hips sink down, we feel ourselves kind of lifting out of that depth, nice and actively. Feel your heels energetically squeezing together underneath you. And let that light up the inner thighs a little bit. Let's inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground, forward fold. From your fold, bring the feet back toward hips width, and then inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, sweep both arms to the sky. Exhale, hands lower to your heart. Come into chair pose. Sit in it a little bit. And then lift onto the toe tips. Spike the heels up off the ground. Sink down into another toe stand and try out crow pose for the first time. Hands to the mat. Knees lift onto the triceps. Bend the elbows as you lean forward and look to the space out in front of you. And then hug the heels into the butt. Right? Maybe today it's there, maybe it's not. Right? But trying, just by shifting the weight forward, is more the journey than floating your feet perfectly. So it's more in the effort than the destination. More in the practice than the result. Keep pushing the ground away. Keep dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Reach forward through the heart, but reach back through the hips. Take an inhale. Exhale. Drop the feet down. Forward fold. Golly, let that go for a second, and then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Feel free to flow your way back to downward facing dog. You can take a chaturanga, you can take an upward facing dog, or you can skip one or both of those. Once you get back here, let's inhale the right leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, step the right foot through the top of the mat. Rise up to high crescent lunge. This time, find some strength. Keep the chest lifted and drop to low crescent lunge. So knee down to the mat, Anjaneyasana. Take an inhale. Exhale down to pyramid. Fold over the right leg. Take an inhale. Take an exhale. Lizard lunge, but keep the knee lifted this time. So just bring the right foot outside the right hand. And if you want to, you can drop to one or both forearms. I'm just going to kind of bend the elbows a little bit and then work into space and then step forward. Malasana squat. See if there's a little more space here. Maybe there's a little bit more of an ability to shift around. Shift the weight, right foot, left foot, vice versa. And then take a forward fold. Wide-legged fold. Bring the feet back to hips width distance. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stretch, arms to the sky. Exhale, hands to your hearts. Inhale, up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, take your halfway lift. Exhale, step both feet back to plank. Move through an optional flow to bring you back to downward facing dog. From down dog, left leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, step the left foot top of the mat, arms up to the sky. Create some space. And by create some space, I just mean be conscious and active and try not to sink down. Feel anchored in the feet, but then feel the energy kind of uprising and lifting up. And that's what we kind of need in our crow pose, right? That's why I'm kind of trying to cue to it here. Take an inhale. Exhale. With mindfulness, drop your knee down. Take an inhale. Exhale, folds. Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Inhale here. Exhale, start to inch your way into the lizard lunge, but keep the knee lifted off the mat once you arrive. Stay strong in your right leg. Try to keep your right leg straight behind you. And then step forward, malasana squat. Now sink into the hips, knees wide, active through the feet. Pull the heels together. Lift up through the pelvic bowl, and then take an inhale. Exhale, wide-legged fold. Stay here for an extra breath on the wide-legged fold this time. Whew. And then bring the feet back through center. Sometimes you just need to sigh it out real quick. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Chair pose. And then from chair pose, lift the heels. Sink down to the heels. Prepare for bakasana, crow pose. Hands to the mat, knees up to the triceps. Bend the elbows, lean forward, look forward. And then try to keep breathing. All the technical details are important, but they don't mean much if we forget to breathe. So it's better to breathe even if you feel like it slows you down. It creates a little more sustainability, longevity, and it reminds our bodies that we're calm in challenging situations. Go ahead and drop the feet down, forward fold. Let it go. Bind the fingertips up behind your low back and then reach them over your head to stretch your shoulder blades. Release your hands down to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands drop. Step back and flow your way back to downward facing dog. And as we get to down dog, inhale, right leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, step the right foot through to the top of the mat and the arms reach up to the sky. From here, bring the hands through heart center and then lengthen through your spine. Come high onto your left tiptoes and then twist. Left elbow twists outside of the right knee. Stay strong in the legs. Keep your foundation. But then feel your spine lengthening and twisting like a spiral staircase. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Exhale, slowly drop the left knee to low crescent lunge. Inhale here. Exhale, fold over your right leg to your pyramid. One full breath in. Exhale out. From the pyramid, shift into lizard lunge. Right foot comes wide, hands down to the ground. Option to drop the forearms just for a moment. And then use your momentum to step yourself forward into malasana squat. Such great preparation malasana is for crow pose. Take an inhale. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Bring the feet back onto the mat, hips width distance. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, hands to the sky. Exhale, hands to your heart. Chair pose. On the inhale, sink into the hips, lift the arms. Exhale, lift the heels. Drop down for a second into your toe stand. Option 1, hold toe stand if you want to break for the arms. And then option 2, crow pose. Spread out the fingertips. Bend the elbows to create your shelf. Lean forward and then see if the balance is there this time. Try to keep pushing yourself away from the ground, away from the ground. Lift through the core, lift through the hips, lift through the heels. And then slowly lower down to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat for your journey back to down dog with or without a chaturanga or an up dog to get you there. And then let's inhale, left leg to the sky. Exhale, left foot steps, top of the mat, high crescent lunge, arms up to the sky. Take an inhale. Exhale, hands slide down to your heart. Lengthen the spine forward. And twist. Right elbow, left knee. 2 breaths. Arms up to the sky. And slowly drop your right knee down, Anjaneyasana. Inhale, lift up through the fingertips. Exhale, pyramid pose. Sorry, I'm getting slower in my cues. I'm actually just a little bit out of breath. I'm going to be totally honest with you. That's why we're not rushing around our mat as we play with these challenging postures like bakasana, crow pose. All right, moseying into lizard lunge. From your lizard lunge, stay low as you step forward into malasana. Whoop, almost lost my balance there. From malasana, take an inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Bring the feet closer together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing. Exhale, hands to your heart. Chair pose on the inhale. Spike your heels on the exhale. Toe stand on the inhale. Hands to the mat. Exhale, crow pose. Breathe at your own pace. And then see if it's there. There's an interesting element to these classes because they're fatiguing, right? We get tired as we go through, but we also get more open and we get stronger as we go through. Drop the feet when you're ready, forward fold. So what's interesting is that we can get equally stronger and slightly fatigued on the same trajectory. So just be mindful of where your body's at as you continue to attempt the crow pose. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back to plank, optional flow to bring you back to down dog. As we get to down dog, right leg to the sky, 3-legged dog. Step the right foot through to the top of the mat. High crescent lunge. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, slide the hands to your heart. Inhale, lean forward, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Full breath in. Full breath out. Inhale, rise up to stand. Exhale, slowly drop your left knee. Last time through. This time, bring your left hand down to the mat. And then it might be open to twist. And you can do the twist just keeping the arms open, or as I'm demoing here, you can twist your right arm back to the left foot by bending your knee and opening into a quad stretch in this revolved lizard lunge type posture. Take an inhale. Exhale, release your foot if you have it. Head right into Malasana squat with both feet top of the mat. Take an inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Feet come back together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Exhale, hands lower to your heart. Chair pose. Spike the heels. Sink down to the heels. Hands to the mat. Crow pose. Just for a second. So just start to lean forward. And if you get the crow pose, go ahead and release back down. All right, now here's the real challenge. Hands to the challenge. I said challenge funny right there. Maybe I'll edit this out, maybe I won't. All right, twist to your right. Hands down to the ground. Lift knee, or right knee rather, onto left tricep and start to chaturanga your arms just as you would for regular crow, except we're in the side crow. Shift your hips over to the left. Stay strong in your right arm. And then come back through center with the feet. Side crow. Side one complete. That is a worthwhile challenge. All right, one more side to go. Forward fold. Shake out the knees. Halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back and flow your way back to your down dog. And then reach the left leg to the sky. Last side. Step all the way through. High crescent lunge. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, lean out. Exhale, twist. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, slowly drop the right knee. And then from here, right hand comes to the ground. Left hand stays twisted open with the option to bring the left foot wider and then circle open into a quad stretch and spinal twist. Breathe into the center of your body. We'll release the foot if you have it, and let's all step malasana. Last one of the day. Top of the mat. Sink into the hips. Same thing, crow pose. We're going to go into it right from here this time. So take your crow pose just for a second as you lean forward. And then just as soon as the feet float, rock it back down. Just a little balance test. And then sit up into your toe stand. Bring the feet together. Twist. Bring right elbow outside of left knee. Hands to the ground. I like to keep the hands nice and wide. Chaturanga in the arms, elbows back. And then let the hips roll toward the right side as I elevate for side crow. And then try to find even shoulders. So if the right hip is right shoulder is lifting all the way up, roll the right shoulder back down. Find evenness. And then release. Back to center. It's such a funny thing trying to cue those poses when I'm working so hard to hold them myself, right? It just goes to show, no matter how long you've been practicing, the practice requires effort. All right, let's forward fold for a moment. And then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat for your final journey. Back to downward facing dog. Then as you get to downward facing dog, go ahead and drop the knees down. Come to a seated position. Grab a sip of water if you have water nearby. I don't have water nearby. Why didn't I set up myself with a water on the crow pose class? You know, we're going to keep cruising through it. And I'm going to drink a nice poppy after this class. I don't know if y'all been drinking the poppies or the Olipops, these like healthy sodas, you know. I am not sponsored by any means. That would be great though. But these poppies, we're kind of addicted over here, you know. They're good stuff, especially after filming some yoga classes, a hard-earned side crow, you know. Anyways, I'm so off topic, y'all. My brain is so much like a squirrel today. That's so funny. All right, let's lay down on our backs. And a little unhinged in this video. Why not? Come into bridge pose. All right, so bridge pose, still a strengthening pose. And go ahead and bridge the hips up when you're ready. But it's a nice complement after all those crows because we kind of get to lengthen through the front body and the front of our hips. In crow pose, we're compressing so much and contracting so much in the hip flexor and core. It's nice to do some poses like these that leave the hips and the quads open. All right, so take an inhale. Exhale, release down. Left leg extends long. Right knee pulls into the chest. And then twist the right knee across your body. You can keep the right knee bent, or you can straighten out your right leg. You can even reach left hand to right foot if you like. And breathe into the twist for, let's say, 4 or 5 breaths. Release the twist, come through center. Oh. Switch sides. Right leg long, left knee into the chest, twist the left knee across the body. And I hope y'all are able to reward yourself after this class too, not because you need challenging physical things to reward yourself, just that it's nice to be proud of ourselves after we do something active or challenging, right? Maybe reward yourself with a little treat or a nice drink like I'm gonna do, a nice little soda. Right, and maybe you reward yourself with some sunshine, or with a glass of cool water, with a hot tea if it's cold out where you are. Maybe you reward yourself by giving yourself a little longer to chill in shavasana today, or to read your book, or to watch your show, right? But when we do these things for ourselves, it's nice to really sit in it and really appreciate it. So it's release and come through center. So it's really just about finding the pleasure in the common things and treating common things as a reward. Like even just a fresh breath of air is like a beautiful gift. Now let's press into the feet, bridge pose one more time, last active posture of the class. And I say this in the spirit of santosha, which means contentment. But what it really means is present contentment with exactly where you are right now. Right? So not needing anything to change, not needing the time to change, not needing your job or your income or your house or your car or how you feel about yourself to change. Release the hips down, extend the legs, and take shavasana. Lay on your back. And as we lay on the back, we'll treat this rest as a nice gift to ourselves. It's about finding the sacredness in the mundane. And it's through doing that that allows us to weave together the sacred and the mundane. When we do that, something beautiful happens. We're able to see the sacredness and the oneness in everything. And of course, we see the division. The division is very obvious to us. We're always dividing things and categorizing things and defining things in our mind. But when we can see the thread of oneness, the thread of pureness, of goodness, of sacredness, and even of divine nature of all things, this is really a goal of the practice. So as we settle deeper into this shavasana, maybe you can sit a little bit deeper in your own glory. And you can even kind of praise yourself, but not praising yourself in a way that inflates the ego, praising yourself in a way that you would praise a friend, in a way that you'd praise a niece or a nephew that you're proud of, in a way that you would praise your cat or dog for doing something good. I'm going to leave you to kind of meditate on this kind of concept of self-acceptance and love and pureness, purity, and contentment, santosha. I recommend you stay in this shavasana for a few minutes and notice where it takes you. Or if you have to get up and go, then that's totally understandable as well. I thank you for joining me for another practice. Thanks for all of your efforts today with the crow pose. And I hope you have a beautiful and inspired rest of your day. Peace.